What I do know is that I can cause and create futures for people, and I can help them cause and create futures for themselves. And I know that's very attractive, because here's the problem, David. Nobody knows their potential. None of us know how far we can take this thing. So why not push the limits?
Hey, what's up, Masters? Welcome to another episode of Path to Mastery. And today we're with Mr. Mike C-Roc Ciorrocco. Did I say your last name
Yeah,
right?
that's good. That's good. That's why they call me C-Roc, but that's good. Yep.
Is
Ciorrocco.
it good or is it good?
Ciorrocco.
All right. So I was pretty good. Okay, good. I'm glad to hear it, man. Good to see you, brother.
You too, man. You too. After our stint with the virus, man, you know, we got to hang out together, and then we were around a bunch of people that had something and gave it to us, I'm sure, somehow. And now we're back, though. That's all that matters. It's
funny because the next night at dinner, we had dinner with Jerry and John and those guys from Million Marathon. And I was sitting next to this kid. I'm not going to say his name, but he kept coughing. And I didn't even notice it for some reason. And then when he got up to go to the bathroom, Jerry's like, yo, you know, that dude just keeps coughing at you, right? I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, he just keeps coughing. You don't even notice it. And I was like, oh, snap.
That's where we got it from. That kid.
Yeah, we got it. I think everybody got it. I don't know if it's his fault, but I feel like everybody had it.
Well, look, anyway, I'm actually glad I got it and got over it. Like I hadn't had it before that I knew of. I might have, I've had a couple colds here or there, but I've never been like positively tested. And now like, it's like, okay, I got it. Good.
Yeah.
And,
amen.
I'm kind of glad.
Amen. Onward. But yeah, it's crazy right now. Unfortunately, my gym has just changed. They're bringing masks back. My church closed down Sunday. So who knows, but I think it needs to kind of work its way through, and hopefully this is it.
Yeah. You can't run from it, man. You cannot run from it. It's going to get around, and I think you just need to let it run its course.
Well, depending on when you listen to this interview, we are having this conversation on January 4th. Or today's the 5th, actually, right? Today's the 4th or the 5th.
Damn, dude, I think it's the 5th. Yeah, I don't even know either.
I'm a day behind, man. I've been so crazy. Yeah, of 2022, and just COVID is just spiking everywhere. So I'm sure whenever you listen to this, we're gonna hopefully be way beyond this. So anyway, Mike C-Roc is the co-founder of the innovative tech platform Blooprinted, the powerhouse, I should say, behind the podcast. What are you made of? He also is the best-selling author of Rocket Fuel, Convert Your Setbacks to Become Unstoppable. Mike's a performance coach, author, dynamic public speaker, and a tech visionary, as well as a thought leader. He's been featured by Yahoo Finance as one of the top business leaders to follow in 2020 and on. And he's on a mission to build unstoppable people. He's consumed with a passion to help people break free from the confines of complacency and propel to untapped levels of success. What's up, Mike?
Glad to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, brother. So there's a lot there to talk about. I mean, Blooprinted is your tech product, but I want to before I even go there, I want to talk to you about, you mentioned the word complacency. And, you have a passion to help people break free from complacency. Talk to us about that. Like, why is that important to you? And what does that look like to you?
Well, there's not much that really scares me or worries me or concerns me in life, except for me falling into complacency and being comfortable. It's my kryptonite. And I get very anxious around it. And maybe it's something I need to work on, but I feel like, like when I was just going through this virus and overcoming the virus, and, there's a lot of rest that goes into recovery, right? And you have to. I'm not the type of person who likes to lay around. And so I start to think to myself, man, what if this gets, habit forming? And, I start thinking these things, like these wild things went through my head. And so that's what it stems from. And I would refuse to not be on a mission, not focusing on my thoughts, words, and actions going towards my mission. And I'm constantly assessing whether I'm on point, in alignment. And when I say constantly, I'm talking about throughout my day, not weekly, monthly, yearly. That's something, David, that I hear people like at Clubhouse is crazy right now about 2022. Are you on your pace for your goals and or focus on your goals? And what are you going to do this year? This and that. And it's like, dude, I don't give a shit about the new year. Like that doesn't mean anything to me. Like I'm not a big holiday guy. I like to get through the holidays, but what I'm concerned with is on a daily basis, am I going towards the mission that I set out for myself or not? Period. And if I'm not, I got to get on my shit. And then the next day I got to get back on track quicker rather than later. Because if you wait till a week, you wait till a month, or gosh darn, if you're just waiting till the end of the year or the beginning of the next year, you're way too late, man. And I'm going to blow past you. And I'm going to have such a big gap that you'll never catch up.
So did you always think like that? Or was that something, is that a behavior that you, I guess, learned or taught yourself? How did, because you're right. Most people right now, it's January 5th, right? Everybody's into the New Year's, full blown, excited. But I guarantee you 90% of those people, I hate to say 90, it's a high number, but I think it's 83% was a number I heard yesterday of the people are going to be off the goal by March. It's just the reality, right?
Exactly. Well, I got sick and tired. It's always been inside of me, man. I've always had this urgency inside of me, this animal, this beast mentality. I did let it slide for a while because I was surrounding myself with the wrong people, and the wrong people would talk down to me or discourage me or laugh at my dreams or try to talk me out of my dreams. And I let those people stay around in my environment too long. And I just got tired of being sick and tired, man. I hit to the point where I was just like, there's got to be more. There's got to be a better way. I just can't have it. Now I read the 10X rule, and Grant did something. He triggered something in me, which was unleashing the beast and really let myself out of this cage that I put myself in, or I allowed others to put me in. And I just had enough is enough. Like sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I started really investing in myself to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars, lots of time, lots of energy. And I surrounded myself with very successful people and coaches and consultants and mentors that have led me into a place where I spent so much damn time with them that I was studying and paying attention and taking notes and all that. But being around them all the time, I don't even realize how much I've absorbed and then who I've become because of it, until I start talking or somebody needs help. And it seems so easy to me, the answer that they're struggling with. It's because I've just been immersed in this world, this new world. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate, you and I had dinner that first night in Miami, and I appreciated that dinner. And, you had said something to me that I still remember, and you asked me a question, why I wasn't focusing on the EXP thing. And it's that question just keeps popping up, but it was a really direct question. You didn't know me that well at the time, but yet you asked it. And so is that like, is that one of your gifts, just to kind of go and just be like direct and to the point with people like that? Or
yeah, look, I don't have time to play around. Like I'm going to be 45 in about a month, actually. Yeah. Almost a month. And my window, since I figured this out, is obviously smaller than when it was when I was younger. And I have to act with urgency. I don't have time for people's feelings. I don't have time for getting to know people before I try to help them. I have a mission, David, that all people are unstoppable to live in the life of their dream. And I live and filter everything through that mission. And part of that is, hey man, look, why aren't you focused on this? And now the answer could be very valid. You may have an answer for that when I ask that question, or you may be just running.
I did, and now I'm ready to, but
you may have an answer for it, and it might be valid. You may be running from it. You may have fear blocking you. You might have some kind of, I'm just looking for you to question yourself. I'm not questioning you for me. I'm bringing the question up so that you could start asking yourself that question. And maybe you haven't been, or maybe there's a blind spot, or I don't know. But what I do know is that I can cause and create futures for people, and I can help them cause and create futures for themselves. And I know that's very attractive. People want to spend time with you. They want to do business with you. They want to be involved with what you're involved with when you can cause and create futures for them. And so that's what it's about, man. And I look, if somebody gets offended by that or gets upset or how dare this guy, that's not my problem, man. That's something that they got to figure out. And I'll land my plane with this. One little thing that people keep like we joke around in my group, in my circle, is Can I cuss? I think I've already cussed on the show, but is it okay to, I'll stick
Yeah,
away
listen,
from it.
I mean, we'll just have to put the little E there.
Well,
That's
it's
all,
for
right?
emphasis.
I mean,
All right. I won't say the cuss word anymore,
we will.
but it's only for emphasis. I promise. My heart's good. But they like, I know a lot of people that I'm around when I question them for themselves to question themselves, you know, they get this little voice in their head and it's a high pitched voice. And it's like, this mother, you know, and, like who the heck is this guy? Like the nerve of him, like, who does he think he is? And then what they do, because this is a part of excuse making and being able to live with your failures, is you'll start to look at me and my life and say, okay, well, let me see what he's done. Let me see if he's doing what he's saying he's doing, instead of saying, well, wait a minute, let me analyze that. But the first thing that happens to people when they get defensive is, well, let me look at him. Is he doing it? And it doesn't matter what I'm doing. The question was asked of you, for you.
Yeah.
So anyway, but I also got to live up to those standards. Like I have to constantly, if I'm going to do that and question people, I have to be making sure my stuff's tight. I got to make sure my stuff's tight, you know.
Dude, it's good, man. Listen, so two things I took is, and one is we have to surround ourselves with the right people. I mean, I mean, you know, people, that's not anything people listening. Like if you're listening to this right now, I'm sure you've never heard that. I mean, I'm sure you've heard that a lot of times, right? But the question really is, well, how do we get in those circles sometimes? And then the other thing is, when you're in those circles, you know, there's going to be people like you that, or most people in those circles, Mike, they're straight shooters. Like they don't want any bullshit. They don't have time to waste. They're going to tell you the way it is. And that's it. And we need to be open to that, right? How important is that?
Yeah. I mean, where your commitments lie. Do you want to get better? Do you want to be the best? Do you want to reach your potential, like reach for your potential? It's all about where you're committed to. And if you're more committed about your ego or your judgment of what people think of you, your ego about like how you're represented out in the world. I mean, if that's where your commitment lies, then you're going to get pissed at that kind of stuff. And, you know,
but you have to pay too. A lot of times we see that's the thing. A lot of people aren't willing to do. And even me, I wasn't. And you know, the last 2 years I paid 25 grand and I paid 25 grand again, which was a lot of money. I mean, it is a lot of money, but I wasn't used to spending like a $25,000 payment on me. Like if I'm going to buy a property or something, that's one thing. But I know for me now, that's like the tip of the iceberg. Now I'm like, okay, how do I get into where I'm spending $100,000 to get into a group?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's not the 25,000 is a lot. It's that the money that you're making isn't high enough for you to think that that's not a lot of money. That's where the focus needs to be, is income, developing income. And the question about investing in real estate, investing in, you know, that,
even more important, I think it puts you in the proximity though. Cause the problem is most people try to get into proximity and they're not willing to write the check.
Well, let's go back for a second. Let's go back to the fact of difference between investing in yourself and then an asset. Investing in yourself takes self-worth. You have to understand the value of yourself and the value of your future self, the future value, and based on your potential of yourself before you start investing in yourself, because people don't invest in themselves because they don't think that they're worthy. And you need to understand the value of this, because listen, if you could create one more deal, what's your average deal commission? Like when you do a deal in real estate?
10 grand.
Okay. All right. Listen to this. All right. This is something that when people invest, they want to get good returns, right? Well, if I could show you how to get infinite returns, how much money would you invest in this thing that could get you infinite returns? How much money?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I guess infinite returns,
whatever
I got. Yeah.
Whatever you could get your hands on.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So here, think about how this works. If you take 25 grand, you invest it into yourself, whatever it is, and you really take seriously, you commit, you go all in, and you implement and you take action, right? Because you can't just learn, you got to take action. And then you got to follow up with the relationships that you meet at these events. And you got to get everything you can. You got to squeeze the rock, get water out of the rock if you have to. If you do that, and you all of a sudden, this allows you to get one extra deal a month, just one, not two, not three, not one. That means that you're making 120,000. That's 10,000 a month, $120,000 more per year in that first year. Now, there is absolutely zero chance that if you're starting to get one more deal a month, that you're going to stay at one more deal a month, because you get referrals from customers, you get repeat customers. That number will continue to rise. But if it doesn't rise and you make $10,000 more per month, $120,000 per year, and you invested $25,000, what is the return after 1 year? $25,000 investment, $120,000 return.
That's 5 times, 5x.
Yeah.
Right?
So you get your 25,000 back and you still have about 100,000 left. So that's a 400% increase.
Yeah.
That's a 400% return in 1 year. Now,
if you implement,
I prefaced it with that. Like, you got to do all those things.
Well, yeah, of course. Yeah.
But if you don't do it, then you don't do it. It's just like if you invest in a property and you don't take care of the property, it's the same thing. Right. And if you don't follow like, let's say you invest in real estate and you don't follow the tax code and make sure that you get all your tax write-offs and deductions and depreciation, all that's the same kind of thing. But my point is that that's 400% return in year one. The next year, you're still going to be doing that, and you're going to add to it, and you're probably going to reinvest in yourself a little bit as well. But at the end of the day, if you just invested that 25,000 and acted upon those relationships and the lessons you learned, and you just continuously followed the plan, every single year it would go up and up and up and up, and you have infinite returns. People don't realize this, and if they did, they would do it in a heartbeat. They would drop hundreds of thousands of dollars in a heartbeat. They would borrow money to do this. Because if you have infinite returns, you got to find the money no matter where it comes from, even if it costs money to get the money.
Yeah, see, that's an area I may struggle with, and I think a lot of people do. But I want to get into your book as well. Well, I mean, since I said it, like the borrowing of the money to do it. Like, I had the money, so I was able to invest it, knowing, okay, worst case scenario, nothing happens with it, then hey, I can deal with it, right? But it almost feels like you're in a better position if you don't have anything to fall back on. You know, like when Grant says spend all your money, I still struggle with that philosophy.
Yeah, because you don't trust yourself to be able to go out at a drop of a dime and go make a buck.
Well, I can make a buck. I just can't make $1 million is where I'm struggling right now.
Yeah, but you can. That's the thing. You just said you can't. And you're
that's a good point.
Everything you said, everything you say, you're going to do whatever you got to do to prove yourself right.
Good point.
So we got to pay attention to the story.
I just haven't done it yet in 1 year. That's all.
You haven't done it yet, but that doesn't mean that you can't, right? And it doesn't mean that you're not a year away from that. You just need to be around the right people, around the people that know what to do, and then execute. And you cannot do it yourself, man. Like, we talked about this too when we were having dinner. Like, you need to make sure that you understand what duties need to be done to, like, what does it take to make $1 million in a year? What does it actually take? And when you understand that, you start to realize, well, that's a lot of things. I'm not going to be able to do it myself efficiently. Okay, what things should I be doing? And what things should I get somebody else to do? Because if I make $1 million in a year, I can afford to pay some other people. Yeah. And so, like, you really have to start thinking about these things, about what it's going to take, learn about what it's going to take, and then figure out who's going to do it. And that helps with it big time.
I love it. Well, I'll tell you, I know it's you make $3,700, 300 days out of the year. You got 1.1, but that's gross, not net. But anyway, definitely the goal is, and I'm going to get there. And that's why I'm aligning myself with people like you and the others. Here's something that's really occurred to me though, and you kind of touched on it, and then I want to jump to your book and then Blueprinted. But one of the things that I've really picked up on as I'm going through this training with Cardone licensee and your licensee is, one of the things they say to people a lot is when they get an objection, the objection is really, okay, is it because you think it's not going to work, or is it because you think you're not going to do it? And I've never heard that before. And I've been selling a long time, but I mean, it's so powerful, right? And it's to what you alluded to earlier.
Yeah. I mean, that's the question. It's very simple. questions that we would ask ourselves. And what you're doing when you're selling someone is you're working them through these thoughts that they have in their head. And you're digging to find out what those thoughts are. Because a lot of things, the worst thing is an unspoken objection, unspoken concern. And you have to dig your way through it to identify what that is, to isolate to the true objection. So yeah, I mean, that's one of the processes. Other than the money, is there any other thing that would stop you from doing this today other than the money? You know, I've been in sales for so long and I've seen all the objections and all that. It's like old hat to me. I can like recite it like that. If I got in a situation with someone, sure.
Yeah.
No, I understand. I'm with you, you know, agreeing and then handling the objection. And
that's
trying to
what you
identify,
asked me.
isolate. Yeah.
And when we met that night, you're like, what's the number one principle? And I now it's
Agree.
always agree. But the reason I bring that up though is because it never really occurred to me that most people aren't doing things because they don't trust themselves to actually follow through. I never saw beyond, like I was really good at helping people handle objections, but that never really occurred to me until, because I've been working, my last 19 years of my life's been working with homeowners, right? So I know all the objections for getting a house listed, but now it's different. I'm dealing with people. I'm dealing with people showing up every day and having to do what they need to do to better their life. And it's different. It's a different set of objections. It's a different set of skills.
100%, man. People, it's the confidence in themselves to follow through and complete the cycle.
Yeah. Talk to us about your book, Rocket Fuel, man. Give us the essence of the book.
Yeah, man. Look, I grew up in a broken home. I don't remember my parents together. A lot of fighting, a lot of conflict, a lot of brokenness, a lot of drug addicts and alcoholics and suicide and overdosing and you name it, man. And I just remember as a kid being around all this stuff and not accepting that it had to be that way. Not accepting the BS stories that they were telling themselves of why they were like that and telling other people why they were like that and why things were happening to them. For some reason, as a kid, I just knew that wasn't the case. And I would call them on their BS from a young age. So I've always considered myself a people builder. I always wanted the best for people or better for people and to show them the way. And, one day, my dad, who had his own issues, was kind of in denial about the abuse that was going on when I lived at his house with my stepmother. And I had decided to get out of that situation at 10 years old after living in that house for 3 years. And my mom filed court papers to get me out of that house. And my dad got delivered these court papers one day when I came home from school. And the tension in the house was really thick. And my dad was my hero. He had a masonry business. He laid block, concrete, brick, poured concrete, very successful, had really rough hands, big forearms. You could tell he was a hard worker. And he used to carry this wad of $100 bills around in his pocket all the time. And he would flash money to us and show us like, this is money. I work hard for this money. And this is what money gets. And you need the money, and you got to save your money and all this other stuff. Right. I always thought that he was cool. And he was my hero. But one thing that always got me was how he never stuck up for me when I was getting in an abusive situation from my stepmother. And he'd always go like wink at me and give me a thumbs up behind her back when she was on fire and like, just ride it out kind of thing. And you know what? It got to me after a while. So he got these papers delivered and said that I wanted to move out. My mom wanted custody. I was deciding to do this. And he questioned me about it. And he reminded me my mom didn't have a lot of money and she was on to her third marriage. And why would I want to go into that situation? And I didn't get into a discussion with him. I just said, I made my mind up. And so he takes that wad of $100 bills that I always looked up to him for, and he used to show all the time. And he peeled one off, crumpled it up and threw it at me and said, here, you're going to need this then when you're living on the streets with your mother one day. And at that moment, when I was about 10 years old, when that happened, like a spark was lit in me. Like, you know what? I'm not going to need that money. I'll show you. And so for 30 some years, I drove off of this one incident. And during that period of time, there was times where I had to, in sports or school or work, I had to take it to the next level. I thought back, I can't let him win. I can't let him win. I got to keep pushing. Or things were going great. And I'm like, you know what? I can't stop here. He'll win. I got to keep going. Now, whether that's healthy or not, I think it's healthy to a point where you want to keep using that toxic fuel, that toxic stuff Instead of storing it in your trunk and weighing you down, you put it in your tank and you use it as fuel. That's rocket fuel. But I think at some point when you refine your engine enough and you do enough self-development and personal development, you get to a point where that toxic fuel will only get you so far and it doesn't take you far enough anymore. And you have to start figuring out higher octane fuel to go after. And that higher octane fuel becomes the goals and dreams that you are able to set now, the big giant goals and dreams that are so out there because you have a belief lid that's blown off. You believe that you can achieve anything because of the work that you did on yourself. That stuff becomes your fuel and that starts to pull you forward faster. And so I wrote a book about that. I wrote a book about how to turn setbacks into rocket fuel to become unstoppable. And in that tells some of the stories like I just told you, but other stories. And it also kind of follows the journey of my mentorship over the last couple of years with some very successful people, including Grant, who wrote the foreword for the book.
That's awesome, man. Well, thanks for sharing that story. Yeah, super cool. I also come from a pretty dysfunctional childhood, but yeah, I haven't seen my father in a long time. But anyway, I don't know that I used it as the right fuel so much, but I think, well, I shouldn't say that. I think in a way I did. My dad taught me some traits that didn't serve me well. He taught me how to fight, he taught me how to be aggressive, he taught me how to stand up for myself. But it didn't translate. But at the same time, based on where I come from, we put together a really nice life for ourselves. But the challenge is the potential. That's why you got to put myself around people like you, people like Grant, people like in that environment. It just says, wow, there's so much more. Just because I come from living in a car. I mean, we lived in a car and in a box truck. So I'm in a pretty nice house now. Garage, 2-car garage, lift, the whole deal. So I think I'm doing pretty good until I go and look. And I'm betting there's some people listening to this right now that are in the same situation. Get out there and put yourself in a different environment and you'll see what's really possible. I think that was my takeaway from Florida. One of them. Yeah,
that's the key of traveling, man. Like ever since I started to travel, going to Miami, going to LA, going to Scottsdale, Arizona is a beautiful place, going out of the country and just witnessing and seeing all these other things and seeing these big ass boats. Like, wait a minute. People have that? Like that's something that people have? It's not just a video. Wait a minute. How, if they can do it, I know I can do it. I got all the energy. I got all the willpower. I got all the want to. I just need to know how to do it. Show me the way. And that leads us into Blueprinted, David, because one of the reasons that in my life that slowed me down, kept me from being further along than I am today, frustrated, cost me a lot of time, money, was not knowing the exact steps to achieve a certain thing. And so I wanted to fix this problem. So I created a platform with that has a marketplace of success blueprints in it from people that know how to do things. So any category, any topic, if we have an expert that knows how to do that, a coach, consultant, trainer, whatever the case is, a top person in an industry, if they can provide the step-by-step blueprint to achieve something, we are going to put it into our marketplace and then help them sell that and impact other people and create unstoppable people. And so that's what Blueprinted is. It's a new tech platform that's launching anytime now. We're filling it with creators and experts right now. And if anybody's interested in that you're a creator, expert, consultant, trainer, coach, author, reach out to me or go to the link Blueprinted, BLOO printed.com/VIP. And you will have access to become a creator in that. And we're actually working with these creators with a specialist team, project management team that actually builds the blueprint based on their content.
That's awesome. So I have a process that I teach real estate agents to, or I guess I've been playing in the real estate space for the last 19 years, but I can teach people how to get out there on the phones, connect with people and close for appointments. Is that a process that you would blueprint, like walking somebody through all those steps of being able to connect with somebody and convert to an appointment and then go sell a product?
I mean, okay, if I wanted to, what is the final outcome? That's what we got to look at. What's the final outcome?
The final outcome in the real estate would be taking a listing, getting a seller to sign the listing agreement. Somebody you don't know, you can cold call and get them to sign with you an agreement. How
to create a listing out of thin air, right? And this is my blueprint to how to create a listing out of thin air for listing agents. If you want to learn how to do this, buy my blueprint. Step-by-step process of how to do this. If you follow these steps and you do it enough times, you'll have as many listings as you want.
So let me ask you this, because I mean, I have training right now that I walk people through steps, like videos with PDFs and others. So what would be different about the blueprint?
So blueprint compared to a course is like watching the Food Network with a celebrity chef showing you him making a 7-course meal. And then you run into the kitchen and trying to do the same thing. That versus me giving you the blueprint, which is step 1. Here's step 1. Now you can have a video introducing step 1, but here's step 1. And it's text telling exactly what to do, links for resources and PDFs or screenshots or whatever you need to cover step 1. It's a project management software almost, so that people are actually doing things. And for example, instead of watching that Food Network, I give you the ingredient list of what you need. I give you the store where to go to get it. I tell you what aisle it's in, how much it costs. Then what you do is you put it in your cart and you push your cart to the checkout and go to the self-checkout, because you don't need to go to the other checkout, and swipe the stuff I give granular details, granular, so that when somebody's going through this, there's no questions to ask. You just follow the details. Now, people can be hands-on with this and create a coaching program and a whole business around blueprints. Or there's going to be some people that are hands-off. They just put a blueprint and say, hey, if you have a question, you can email me. I'll get to it when I get to it. But other people are going to really dial this in, and they're going to scale this out to like an awesome business with several blueprints, coaching programs, events, masterminds, and all that jazz. And they can even have courses with blueprints, because courses are good. They have their space, but they're missing that key link of granularity and step-by-step process.
I love it. I need to take a look at this, bro. Like, I need to take a look at this. And here, so what I'm taking, here's what I'm thinking. Like, I had a ghostwriter write my book. To me, that's similar to that. Like, I could have spent.
Well, how much did you pay for a ghostwriter?
Hundreds of hours, but I didn't. How much
did you pay? How much you pay for a ghostwriter?
In the end, it was like 22,000.
Okay, so you paid 22,000 for a ghostwriter. We're doing something in blueprints, which blueprints are better than books, by the way, because it's granular, actionable steps, and it cuts out all the bullshit fluff. We're charging $2,497. Our person works with you and builds the blueprint. They'll take your book, they'll take your course, they'll interview you, whatever we got to do.
For everything from
$2,497, and you can charge whatever you want for your blueprint, and we get a 90-10 split. You get 90, we get 10 for posting the blueprint on the marketplace. This is a very, very unique opportunity. Very inexpensive, because like you just said, you spent 20 grand because you didn't want to take the time to do it, because it's very time, labor intensive to write a book. Same thing with blueprints. You shouldn't be in doing the labor intensive, time consuming stuff. Just provide the content, and then we'll put the blueprint together. We'll ask you if we need a 30-second video. We'll ask you if you need a 1-minute video. But at the end of the day, you don't need to be spending the time to do that. So that's why we're doing that. We have an awesome team assembled to do this. That is an actual certification team that does certifications for like John Maxwell and like big thought leaders. So, this is a great platform. I cannot wait till we release this in the coming weeks here. And I'm really excited about the people in the team that we've already assembled and the creators that are already involved.
That's awesome, man. I'm excited. I'm excited to learn more too. I know I got a call with Jared on your team as well to talk about my project. So I'm pretty excited about that as well.
Awesome.
It's crazy for people listening. I've been carrying this project with me for maybe 15 years. And then when I ran into you that night at dinner, we started talking, and now I have a call scheduled, I think the beginning of February to get it, to bring it to life. I'm excited, man.
Well, look, and to be quite honest with you, have an opportunity to actually do that is huge, because we've had 13,000 people come to us with ideas, 13,000 in a year. And 500 to 600 of them made it to the next round, where they could actually pitch the idea and not just put it through with writing. And then we founded 120-ish, somewhere in that range out of that. So to be where you are is very, very, very great opportunity. I just want you to know that, because it's it's,
I appreciate that, man. Appreciate you. That's why we're here right now too, friend. All right. Well, tell us what's the best way for people if they want to know more. I know you have a podcast, you got Rocket Fuel, Blooprinted. How should people get in touch with you?
yeah, best way. I mean, look, you can Google Mike C-Roc, C-ROC, but I'm on Instagram and LinkedIn and Clubhouse. Those are the three areas the best to find me. But if you want to just Google anything I've done, I have articles. I've done probably 600 podcasts by this point. I've written a book, best-selling book, Rocket Fuel. Check that out. So I'm all over the place. I made it very easy. So, but again, if you're a creator, expert, consultant, you wrote a book, an author, blooprinted.com/VIP. Go check that out. That's spelled BLOO printed.com/VIP, man, and become one of the creators.
Perfect, boss. So in wrapping, just kind of finalize what, like, I know we talked about a few different topics. I think it's an excellent interview. I'm looking forward to listening to it again. What do you want? Like, if you told people, what's the one thing you want people to walk away from this with? If somebody just chimed in now and this was all they listened to, what would you want them to
I mean, my mission is all people are unstoppable to live in the life of their dreams. And it's not woo-woo stuff. It's you actually can cause and create anything you want in your future. You just have to decide to do it. You have to decide to be the cause of things and not the effect of things. And number two, everybody, no matter where they are, where they are in their career, how old they are, doesn't matter. Every single person should ask themselves, am I playing a big enough game? And the answer is no. So you can go ahead and answer that and skip that step if you want to, and just start looking to play a bigger game. And because here's the problem, David, nobody knows their potential. None of us know how far we can take this thing. So why not push the limits? Why settle? So that's what I want to leave you with.
Yeah, I love it, bro. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you again for your time, man. I'm finally glad we were able to get this.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks for having me, brother.